Hey, welcome back to Come Out on Top with Robin Kemp. I am Robin Kemp. And today we're going to be talking about or asking the question of, are you the ops? Are you operating as the ops in your own life because you're not taking responsibility? This is all about taking responsibility in our lives and the importance of taking responsibility. And what are some steps to take that we can make sure that we're taking full responsibility for our lives? So we have to understand that our lives are in our hands and we're responsible for our lives, how they go, how we respond in different situations. We are totally responsible for those things. So let's first start by defining what responsibility is. Now, I'm going to be referring to my notes, looking down, referring to my notes, because I want to make sure I get everything in. Because I did, plus take some notes down and did some research on this thing, so we can learn, we can live the best lives because we're taking responsibility for our lives. Okay, so responsibility is the state or condition of being accountable for one's actions, duties, or obligations, or is one that's able to answer for one's conduct or obligations. So we're responsible for how we respond. And I say that responsibility, you break that down, you have response and you have ability. So responsibility is our ability to respond. Like we have the ability to respond in any given situation. How we respond is going to be up to us. Like we have control over how we respond. Nobody else has control over how we respond. No matter what someone else has done, said, or done to us, or what situation we find ourselves in, at the end of the day, how we respond is totally up to us. We have to decide how we're going to respond to any given situation. So, the first thing that we need to do is to find where we are right now. Like how in our life do we respond to different situations, or how in our life have we taken responsibility for our lives? So first we had to acknowledge where we are. Like, do we try to put things off on people? Do we, when things happen, are we willing to take responsibility for our lives? Take responsibility for our health, take responsibility for our finances. Some people take responsibility for our emotions. Like, no one can make us feel, even though we might have feelings behind what somebody has done or didn't do, it's still ultimately it's our choice to respond certain ways and taking responsibility for our finances. Or do we look at I don't have enough money to do this, do that, but do you have a budget? Are you responsible with the money that you do have, so you really could actually know how much money you have, because you've taken that responsibility to have a create a budget, so I know what's coming in, what's going out. So I'm clear about what actually my finances are. Because sometimes we think we don't have enough, and we like spending money on things that we don't need to be spending money on. But if we don't never keep account of those things, we will never really know. So that's showing a lack of responsibility when you don't even have a budget for your finances. You're not really exactly sure, what's coming in and what's going out. Our relationships, our health. Are you taking responsibility for your health? Knowing good and well that you you're lactose intolerant, but you still want to eat ice cream. That's not taking responsibility, for your life. Like this, taking, looking at every area of our life and realizing, where do I stand? Am I taking responsibility for every area of my life, or am I leaving it up to chance, or am I leaving it up to taking somebody else to remind me of this, remind me of that? We need help in areas where we need reminders or whatever, but ultimately our lives are our responsibility, and we have to make sure that we're doing our part to take full control and full responsibility for our lives. So it's not about blaming us, even blaming ourselves or feeling shame about things we're not doing. It's about really recognizing where we are right now, so we can grow and do better in these, different areas of our life. So, because I know I used to blame my job for a lot of things in my life. All the things I didn't have time for because I was working all the time. But I didn't consider when I am off of work, I'm spending a lot of time watching TV. So I'm spending multiple hours binge watching TV because, I'm at work all these hours. And, so I was playing like work for a lot of things, where it's really had to take a look of, no, if you will come home and do the things you need to do, you still can get things done that you need to get done. And just because I worked a lot of hours, that didn't that was still my responsibility to make sure the things I really needed to get done got done, and stop wasting time doing things I didn't do. But instead of just, coming home and doing things I need to do, I'll spend all this time watching TV, couldn't call up on my shows. No, but that's the least important thing I need to do. So stop blaming work. I work so much because that wasn't the real issue. The real issue was me not really utilizing my time wisely when I was off of work. Because I had days off of work, whole days off of work. Some weeks, multiple days off of work. So it's like that was no excuse. I was using that as an excuse, but I was blaming instead of taking responsibility. So step number 2 is to reclaim our power through ownership. So we had to now take ownership of our lives. And we realized the different things that we weren't being responsible in our finances maybe, in our health maybe, and just the things goals that we set and really putting forth all the effort and the things, doing the action steps that we need to take to reach our goals. Once we realize, okay, this is what I wasn't doing now. Okay, let's take ownership of that. I wasn't doing that. That was on me, not nobody else, even though we tried to put it on other people. But now we're taking responsibility. So we are going to look at the things and we're going to take ownership of those things. Okay, I was doing that. Now I'm going to do this. So here's a quote by Jim Rohn. Said, "You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself." So we know that, only person that we can change is ourselves. That's why we have to be responsible only for ourselves. Now, we're not talking about we're parents and we got young children and we are not responsible for them. But we're talking about just adults and, talking straight to adults in your personal life, your own life that you need to be responsible for, and not put anything on anybody else to make something happen in your life when it's your responsibility for those things to happen. Replace blame with ownership. Instead of they made me feel, put I choose to feel. Because really, that's what the real deal is. A person can't make you feel anything. Now, a person can maybe do something that we should be angry or get you to do whatever, get you to feel whatever. But at the end of the day, you control those things. You control how you feel. You control what you say. Like people say, they made me cuss them out. No, that was a choice that you made to cuss them out as a result of what they did. But at the end of the day, they didn't make you do anything. They didn't make words come out your mouth. You let those words come out your mouth. So we have to take responsibility and be responsible for the energy that we bring to any situation, any space that we come into. Like you can be, and you don't have to have a reason to just decide to be pleasant, decide to be kind, decide to be positive. You don't have to have a reason. That could just be, I choose to be a positive person. I choose to be, no matter what's going on, I choose to see, to be positive and to know that things are going to work out, for my good. So when negative things happen, I had to really think, well, okay, this is going to work out for my good eventually. So I can choose to be positive. I can choose to be joyful. I can choose to be pleasant. And it's not written all over my face that something is wrong because, I'm making a conscious choice to bring positive energy into a room that I walk into. And number 3, the third thing we're going to do is going to align with our core values and vision. So we have to have some, core values that we operate by that will help keep us on track of being responsible. Like it could be integrity. I know one of my tops is love. Me walking in love and always trying to, show the love of God in my daily walk, or how I respond and how I work and how I do anything I do. I'm always trying to live a life pleasing to God, like walking in that love of God. My faith, always knowing that, like I said, all things work out for my good. That's one thing I stand on. And no matter what's going on, whatever situation I find myself in, I really believe that this situation is going to work out for my good. So I'm just a matter of time before I see how that manifests in my life. So we're going to, get those things that are the top things for us. They say choose like 5 top core values that you're going to live by. I'm going to live by integrity, like being truthful, telling the truth. People know when they can come to me, that I'm going to give them the straight up truth, no chaser. Like I'm very like an upfront type of person. There's really no, I wonder what she's thinking. I'm going to pretty much tell you what I'm thinking. Either I'm quiet, but when I speak, it's going to be, it's going to be truthful. It's going to be pretty much straight to the point. I don't like beat around the bush. I'm not a small talker like that. But integrity is good to me. Like I want people to believe what I say is what it is, and if it's not, call me on it. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's perfect, but we are trying to live a life that our word stands for something. Our word means something. When we say something, people can kind of like depend on it. So integrity is important to me. Love is important to me. Family is important to me. Um, Maintaining those relationships, anything you have issues with, that you bring those things to the table, or you address people, because relationships mean something to me. So I want to address issues, or if I feel like you did something that I didn't like I'm going to show you grace, but also hold you accountable and let you know, hey, this is how I feel about it. So at least we can walk through it. You'll know, and we can communicate and talk about it, and we can resolve any issues or whatever. So I think, and growth is very important to me. I always want to continue to always grow in my life, and never to stay the same. Like just growing, because we all this is a life journey. So we're going to be always growing, changing, evolving, because you get new information. And you just want to be better and do better. I don't think anybody wants to just stay the same. Or some people might be okay with, you know, being the same, doing the same, the same old, same old. But me, no, I don't want to keep doing the same old, same old. I want to elevate my life. I want my life to be, I want to enjoy different things, experience different things. I'm always, not just always searching and looking for the next thing type of thing, but it's always just a level of growth that you want to continue to go in. And you never want to be stagnant in one thing or one way of being. Like always be open to grow, always be open to change, because none of us are perfect. There's some things that we just because we've been doing it all our life, so to say. If I get to the age where I'm 45 and I just realize, hey, this is not good. This might be okay for me, but other people are resistant to me because of this. Like, no, I don't want to have people like pull away from me because of a way that I'm acting. That's really not a way you should be acting, but because I've been getting away with it for so long, I'm still doing that thing. No, I have to be willing to lay those things down, pick up new ways of doing things that are beneficial to the people, not just yourself, but people that are around you as well. So we're always looking to change, grow, evolve, and just be a better version of ourselves. Not changing ourselves for anybody or anything, but just being a better version of ourselves. Still remaining true to yourself, but also changing in the positive ways that can help your life and people around you's life. So we want to live with purpose as well. So that's also another thing, just knowing what your purpose is and try to live according to, the purpose that, God has put on your heart for your life, that you want to, always walk in that or consider that when you're making decisions and how you're responding to different things. So number 4, we're going to shift our mindset daily. So we've been doing things maybe a certain way for so long that it takes us consciously reminding ourselves that, okay, no, I'm not doing this way no more. I'm changing over. I'm doing it this way. Another quote by Jim Rohn said, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. So we have to begin each day, to be mindful every day of the change that we're trying to make in our lives. So you have a statement that says, I will take full responsibility for my life and choices today. That can be like something that you say every day. Make yourself conscious of that every day. Like today, I will take full responsibility for my life and my choices today. Like be conscious of that, because so many things we do unconsciously, that we really have to, when we're trying to make changes in our life and do things differently, we have to be super conscious of those things and remind ourselves, no, and be aware. They take self-evaluations at the end of the day. Okay, how did I well, we're going to look at how do we respond to different things, because we want us to be conscious of, are we making this change? Are we doing better? Are we being better? So we want to look at these things and be conscious of them and kind of take a note of. Maybe I have to journal at the end of the day, like what did I go through the day? How did I respond? Could I have responded differently? Could I have, what could I have done differently? How could I have said it differently? Because I know we have to like be aware. I know sometimes you can't see your own facial expression. I know my facial expressions speak louder than my words sometimes. Just like I could be saying the right thing, but my face could be tore up, I've been told. So it's like being conscious of that type of thing, or having somebody that, let them know what you're doing. Like, hey, check me if you see me, not responding in the appropriate way or whatever. But just being aware of it and being mindful of what we're doing, and are we making these changes, and how can we improve every day in this area. And step number 5 is going to be forgive yourself and others. So for times when we weren't responding, certain ways or whatever, we want to, forgive ourselves and forgive others that have treated us any kind of way that we felt like caused us to respond in these ways. Like everybody don't know, how to, everybody's also maybe used to allowing others or considering others as the reason why they're doing things. So people really don't be having a clue. Everybody be in their own little world and been doing things for so long. That's just how you've been doing it, and you've never been checked on it, or it's never been brought to your attention that this is not okay. So it's hard to So we have to give people grace. We have to forgive people forgive ourselves for not being, the one that always was aware of that responsibility or how we responding to people, and that it is, our responsibility to respond the appropriate way and not allowing other people to dictate how we respond. So just forgive ourselves. Don't blame yourself or hold on to those things, because we're all growing and we can do things better as we go. And number 6 is we're going to teach people. We're going to set boundaries and standards. Because when you set boundaries and standards, that would eliminate some of the worrying about how we respond to different things. Because if you set boundaries and let people know, okay, but you have to have a conversation. But it's also not to beat nobody up, but to really tell people hey, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to do better in my life, and better in how I, handle things or handle people, or just how I carry myself. And you might have to set some boundaries in your life, like honoring your time. You don't have to answer every phone call, because the certain person that calls you, and they pretty much come in with a whole bunch of drama or a whole bunch of stuff that might make you feel heavy. They just pretty much dumping on you. No, if you're not in the space for that, you don't have to answer that phone call. And you can always get back to them and let them know, hey, or even when you talk to people, you can limit the amount of time that you talk to them. But just setting those boundaries to where, and you don't have to always announce those boundaries. Some of them you may have to announce, or if a person is talking to you and they're talking to you a certain kind of way, wait a minute now, lower your voice. We don't have to raise our voice, so you might have to address it in the moment. Because a lot of times people don't know. If you try to tell them ahead of time, or tell them when something that's not actually happening, they act like, oh no, I don't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you address it at the time that it's happening, there's no denying that they're doing it. And then you can address hey, I really don't like when we're talking, and you raise your voice. Let's just talk regular, and we can both get our point across that way. But so some things you have to address in a moment, but some things you just have to have in your mind that this is the boundary for me, and you don't have to announce every boundary. You don't have to say, well, a person called, well, I'm only going to talk to you for 10 minutes because I ain't got time. No, you're just hear what they have to say. If you want to put a time limit on them, okay, well, let me go for now. I got a couple of things I need to do. Either you can say you're going to call them back, or schedule another time for them to call you back, or whatever. But you have to know what's right for you. But boundaries have to be set, and you have to stand firm on those boundaries, because you can't set a boundary and then you let it slide as soon as once something happens. So you have to, or be conscious and aware of, okay, if it's something really, important or whatever, you can kind of let that boundary slip. Not let the boundary slip, but I guess there's certain circumstances where you might adjust it. You know what I mean? So just knowing that you might have to set some boundaries so people will understand that, I'm changing, and, you have to flow with me, because the change is going to benefit everybody. Because if I'm not saying anything out of my mouth to you because you made me mad, then that's going to benefit our relationship, because now I'm controlling what I say. And not that I keeping it inside type of thing, but it's did you really want to say it that way to a person? You want to really say things in a way where a person will be able to receive it as well. So just cussing them out and all that kind of stuff, it might make you feel good in the moment, if it does. But at the end of the day, then you got to go back and apologize. I didn't mean to say that, which that kind of stuff don't fly with me. If you said it, I think you meant to say it. You come back and say you didn't mean to say it. Like the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth shall speak. I believe that. So watch what you say. Think about it before you say it, because really, words are something that you really can't take back. You can apologize and all that, but those words still went out, and it still affected that person in some kind of way. So you have to really be careful with those things. And number 7 is going to be take aligned, consistent action. So we have to put some things in place. And so it might be when, a person says something that upsets you or whatever, you might have to take a few seconds. Okay, not, calm down. Like, don't fly right off, with something. Take a second to kind of gather your thoughts, so you're not responding in the usual hot-headed way. You might have to just back off and be like, okay. Or you might even have to say, you know what? You're upset right now. I'm a little upset right now. Let's table this and come back when we're both a little bit more level-headed. You don't have to have a conversation right now, no matter how much a person want to, do it in that moment. If you're not prepared to do it in that moment, or you feel like you can respond in an appropriate way in that moment, you might have to shut that thing down and come back later. Because, Bible says faith without works is dead. So we could believe that we're going to do these things, but we have to put some things in place. We can set some goals, or, hey, I'm not going to cuss nobody out no more. I'm not going to let nobody get me to the point where I'm cussing them out, because I'm working on not using profanity. So you'll work on that. So when somebody get upset, you'll be like, just I think the main thing is about being conscious of these things too. Having these goals in your mind. I'm not going to cuss nobody out no more. What could another one be? You're just going to, be positive. You're going to see things in a positive light. Like, you're not going to let, when different things come up in your life, you're not going to let them overwhelm you. You're going to kind of do some breathing techniques, just take a moment, take a beat, as they say, and think about, okay, how can this be resolved peacefully, type of thing. Or just think about some things you can start doing to or just be to be. I think the main thing is just being mindful. Like, no, I'm going to I have the ability to respond in an appropriate way. So just think about those things. And you can surround yourself with accountability and growth with people that let people know what's going on, what you're trying to work on, and you can have some people that hold you accountable. Y'all can do it together. And number 9 is going to celebrate your progress, not perfection, but your progress. So when you encounter a situation where I would have blown the roof off before, but now it's like I didn't do that. I was calm. I didn't cuss them out. I was able to just express my feelings without getting heated or exploding or raising my voice. Like, look at those things as accomplishments. That's progress. And even if you had to just walk away, like, not saying hang up on the person type of thing, but just, hey, I'm going to call you back on this. Like, I really need to get off this phone right now. I'm going to call you back on this. But just anytime that you see any kind of progress, you want to celebrate that. You want to, just acknowledge that within yourself. And then you're going to keep working on it. Keep working on it on a daily basis, and keep growing in that thing, and keep I think the main thing I say is, like, be conscious of it. If we can become more conscious of it, then those responses will become our automatic responses. Now we don't have to be so conscious. Like, now I know that I've been doing it for a while, I'm not getting so upset. And once I start taking responsibility in different areas of my life, it's like you have no room for, like, the nonsense. Once you start getting your life in order, I'm responsible for my finances. I'm responsible for, my my mental well-being. Like, I'm getting up, I'm making my confessions, I'm speaking life into my life, and I'm believing for these positive things to go on in my life, and I'm managing my finances well, and I'm my physical body, getting up, working out, I'm going for walks or whatever. When you start getting those things in line, it's like everything else you want to be in line. So you're not going to allow nobody to get you upset and take you outside of yourself. Those things it's just going to be an automatic, like, no, it's like you just don't have time, for those things in your life anymore. You only want the peace, you want the peace to exist in your life. So once we start doing these things and making these adjustments and really taking responsibility, knowing that it is our job for our lives to go the way we want them to go. It's not up to anybody else. It's up to us to put things in place where we can grow and become the version of us that we want to be. This is a vision statement that you can, say on a regular basis. Say, I am the author of my life. I am the author of my life. I take responsibility for my thoughts, actions, and growth. And I choose to rise, evolve, and lead myself with purpose and integrity. Yeah, so it's our job. We want to just make that our life statement to where, we're growing, we're changing, we're evolving, we're just getting better. But we also ultimately know that it's our responsibility for these things to happen, for us to live the life of our dreams and live out God's purpose for our life. So I hope you enjoyed this edition or this session of Come Out on Top with Robin Kemp. Also have a link is going to be in the comments. I believe it's going to be a link, but you could copy paste if it's not a link for my workshop that is July the, is it 12th and 13th? Oh Lord. Well, I think it's July 12th and 13th, Saturday and Sunday. It's called Enjoy the Journey of Being You, where we talk about all these things, responsibility. We talk about just the things you can implement in your life so you can enjoy the journey of being you, getting to know who you really are and being who God called you to be. And just how we can work on that every day, how we can just enjoy this journey of who God has called us to be and just living out this journey. Also, join the subscribe to the YouTube. If you have any comments, questions, put them in the comments. I will respond to them. But thank you for joining me on this edition of Come Out on Top with Robin Kemp.